Welcome back to On Second Thought, our weekly sports show with me.
Isiah.
Yes, so we're excited. I'm excited to be able to get ready. Listen, obviously we live in the same house together, and so this is becoming a little bit of an issue for me because certain things are coming up, and I'm not discussing it with the guys because I'm kind of waiting till we get here because I want to get their fresh take on exactly what's going on. Some of the things we do actually talk about, but there's a few of the things that I've been chomping at the bit to get to. Once again, a very, very solid sports week. A lot going on, a lot for us to get to, a lot for us to discuss. And so I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time. I'm ready to just kind of get into it and see what's going on and get the boys' take on it. And you guys, of course, let us know what you guys are thinking, your takes on it. Give us your feedback as we get ready to go. I think this week, instead of starting in the boxing area, which I've got a lot of really good questions for you guys, we're going to start with basketball. Basketball, to me, this is a very exciting time of the basketball season to me. The playoffs start in April, but I think that the playoffs actually start, in my opinion, as soon as All-Star game is over because these teams now have to jockey for position. Guys who's in first have to try to keep first. Teams that are, with the new playoff format, teams that are a little bit on the outside, that number 9 position, you're trying to get into that number 9 position so you at least have an opportunity for the play-in. Or if you're actually in the play-in or number 8, you want to move up so you're not in the play-in. So a lot going on. A lot of teams really, I think, this is when you really start to see very, very quality basketball. I think I'm a little bit biased. I'm a New York Knicks guy. I'm from the New York area. I think, Isaiah's kind of in tune with me. We got somebody here who's, into Golden State. He's always been, so I do give him credit there. We'll get to that in a few minutes. So let's start out east. Let's start out with my beloved New York Knickerbockers. Solid week. I was a little bit concerned coming out of the All-Star break with the Knicks because, which I must say, Aaron is not a hater of the New York Knicks, so I will give him that. Coming out of the All-Star break, the Knicks was in third place in the Eastern Conference, and they unfortunately seem to have had one of the more difficult schedules going into the second half of the season, which caused me some concern. I think we talked about that briefly last week. I wrote about that on Mental Condition in Sports webpage, and I talked about the difficulty in them having to really pull it together in this difficult time. And let's see if they can beat these challenging teams so far. But we had a major debacle the other night. We played the Los Angeles Lakers, who we'll get into them in a few minutes. I don't know who saw the game. I saw the game. You saw the game.
I saw the game.
Did you see the game? Just a tremendous game, tremendous back and forth. They went into overtime. Jalen Brunson is one heck of a player. This guy just carried the team. We had a big argument last week up at Aaron's in Buffalo. Aaron had a bowling tournament. We had a big argument about who the top players in the league. And I listen, I'm going to admit it. I said that I thought that Spider-Man was ahead of Jalen Brunson. I made a mistake. Jalen Brunson is just a tremendous player. Talk a little bit about that game, Isaiah, and what you saw.
I mean, you kind of put it there. Jalen Brunson really put the team on his back.
Sure did.
Nobody else was really playing outstanding to me. I mean, OG kind of does what OG's doing. Mikal Bridges was quiet pretty much the entire night. Josh Hart can only do so much with the basketball, especially since they leave him wide open from 3. Cat, I'm going to give Cat a little break because he might not be in the right mindset right now, but Cat definitely, wasn't Cat. I don't even think Deuce played all that amazing as well. But to still take that Luka LeBron duo to overtime by himself, I think he finished with 39, and I think he got injured before the overtime, to be honest.
He got injured in the overtime.
In the overtime?
Yeah, he got injured very early in the overtime.
Finished with 39 points. Sucks.
Yeah, I mean, that was a devastating injury, and that would bring me to my next question in terms of the New York Knicks, and Aaron can speak to this. Do you think, first of all, that they have enough to compete for the championship with Jalen? And what do you think will be the fallout with them not having Jalen Brunson? Do you think they can really challenge for the championship? Or let's just go say, do you think they can at least challenge to get to the championship and get to, and win the East, even with Jalen Brunson? Do you think they have enough?
No, I never really gave the New York Knicks in the conference finals or the finals, honestly.
You don't think
And
they'll
he's
make
out.
it to the conference finals either?
It depends if they play second round, but yeah, I have no thoughts of them being in the finals or
Wow.
conference finals, depending on who they play in the second round.
With or without Jalen Brunson?
Yeah.
Isaiah? Wow.
I think the Knicks are contenders. I think the Knicks can win. The odds of them winning are probably very slim to none. But, I mean, what he said ain't crazy. Maybe not a conference finals appearance because we have to get through the Cavs or Celtics in order to get there, which is tough on its own, especially, JB's out. Some people say 2 weeks. Some people say for the rest of the season. So when he comes back, he's going to be like a little rusty. But to say that they don't have a complete, no way, I won't say that.
Are the Knicks better than the Cleveland Cavaliers?
No.
No. Boston Celtics? No. So those two teams for sure are better than the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to have to, unfortunately, agree with that at this time. And so, with that being said, what do you think is the weak, what's the problem? What's the problem? What is the part that you think needs to be replaced? Clearly, it's not Jalen Brunson. What would be the part that would allow them to say, you know what, I think they can get over the hump to compete with those teams and beat those two teams?
I mean, I guess the bench depth is a thing.
It's the only right answer.
And, I mean, I'm not going to say Cat's been doing his thing, but I just don't think that we need a stretch big. I don't think that's what the team really needs. I don't think we ever lacked in a big man position. I feel like we always had a big man who needed to do what a big man needed to do. So I don't think Cat is necessary. He's very great. He's been having a great season.
Yes.
He's been helping us a lot.
Yes.
But I just don't feel like that other superstar that we needs to be in the center position for the New York Knicks.
Look, I agree a lot with what Aaron is saying. I think the same thing. I'm well documented to say I just couldn't stand Karl Anthony Towns. Was not happy with the trade at all. But again, I give credit where credit is due, and I eat my words. Karl Anthony Towns has had an unbelievable season. I still have some reservations about him. The Laker game is, being an example of just he's not a big time performer, but he can prove it. He's got an opportunity in my head to prove it. I actually think it falls a little bit more on Isiah. I'm sure is not going to like this. And again, he's a very hard competitor, and I think we saw this in the Laker game. But I think it falls a little bit more on guys like Hart, because he really can't score the basketball. He's a hustle guy that he really hustles tremendously. He gets those buckets. But, when you just kind of need him to score, when the defense is set up, I'm just not sure Josh Hart can do that. Another guy I'm on the fence with, he actually had a really good game in L.A., is OG. Because OG, again, same thing. When it's on the line and we need a bucket, do you feel confident that those two guys can get you a bucket?
Probably not.
That's an issue.
Mm.
Do you?
OG.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't confident with that shot he took in that Memphis game to win, but I mean, he got it done.
Well, he was wide open from
right.
3 though.
But
you mean if you give timeout call, inbound play, OG, I need you to get a shot.
Correct.
Oh, no.
Correct. I think he can hit an open shot for sure, even better than Josh Hart. Definitely. OG, he works on those threes. You can see that he knows where he knows. Or if I get to these spots, and he knocks them down. But my thing is, yes, now that Jalen is down, and we need somebody, like you said, timeout, we got to set up a play. We got to put the ball in somebody's hands. Who are we putting the ball in whose hands at this time? The game's on the line. We got 4 seconds to score. This is my concern with them. There's just no one there, in my opinion, to do that. Deuce is good, but Deuce, to me, is the same thing. More like, okay, he has to be kind of set up.
No.
You think Deuce can go one-on-one and score?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think he can do that. He doesn't need to
So
he doesn't need to be open. He can cook somebody if he wants to.
4 seconds to go in the game.
I'm not saying I choose him over Jalen Brunson.
No. Jalen Brunson's out. 4 seconds to go in the game. You got to set up a play. Who you going to?
If I'm setting up a play,
You got to set up a play. You got to call a play. You're Coach Thibodeau. 4 seconds to go. You got to set up a play. We're down by 1. Who's getting the ball? No Jalen Brunson.
Deuce McBride.
But the rest of the team is healthy?
Yes.
I gotta give it a Cat or Mikal Bridges.
What is calling? How much are we down by?
We're down by
To-
one.
by one?
Yeah.
I'm giving
Oh,
it
well,
to
in
Cat.
that scenario, I mean, I guess I
Give
can
it to
understand you giving it to Cat. But if we're down 3 and we need a game-tying shot, I'm giving it to Deuce McBride. With no hesitation. Who else do you think? Who else on the team would you give it to?
That's my problem. I'm not saying it's a bad situation with you giving it to Deuce. Deuce is a pretty good off the ball one-on-one guy, so yes, that's a good option. But I'm just concerned.
Your mic is flashing red. I'm not sure.
So I'm just not sure. Deuce can go one-on-one. He's the best on the team, I would say, next to Jalen Brunson in being able to score off the dribble. But again, I think at the end of the day, that's just my issue with the New York Knicks right now is just the second option on offense. It's just not, to me, it's just not there. Let's look at some of the other teams in the East. One of my favorite young teams is the Detroit Pistons. Do we think the Detroit Pistons can make any headway in the playoffs this year or just too soon?
It's too soon.
How do I mean what?
Can
just
they make
kinda
some noise?
Yeah, can they make some noise?
Are they a team to watch out for?
Right. Can he get lucky and beat a New York Knicks team?
I think they're a team to watch out for. Like, obviously, if you slip up,
Well,
I'm
I
not
mean,
saying you're looking to lose a 4-game. I don't think anybody in the Eastern Conference playoffs is going to lose a 7-game series to the Detroit Pistons. But I think if you're not careful, they could take you to 7 if they wanted.
The Pistons?
To. Yeah. If they wanted to, I don't think there's a scenario where they win any series in the Eastern Conference.
It's too early.
But
They got a very, very young team. If they keep those guys together, that's a dynasty loading. I think Cade is going to keep getting better. I think Cade, hot take, I think Cade has the potential to play on an MVP level.
Yes.
Who else they got over there? Tobias Harris was a good vet for them. Asar Thompson is an up-and-coming rising star.
Yes.
They got some other pieces over there, but I can't think about them right now. But Cade Cunningham is the team, the player.
So would you guys say it's a foregone conclusion that the Eastern Conference Finals will be the Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Yeah.
well, no, they face next round.
No, I mean, but in the Eastern Conference Finals, wouldn't you say that that's what it's going to come down to?
Yeah. But don't they face the next round?
No, it's 1-8, 3
2 and 7.
2 and 7.
No, if they face each other, it would be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
There's 1-8's up here and 2 and 7's down here, so they keep
Yeah, if they square off, it's going to be in the Conference Finals. So I think that'll be the Conference Finals as well.
3-6, 4 and 5.
Yes. Let's switch over to the West. Interesting situation. Luka looks like he's definitely heating up a little bit. I think the West is interesting because Aaron and I had this debate the other night and talking about, how far the Lakers can go. I mean, this is an interesting year because, as I said, everything is gearing up now. You're seeing teams really starting to play, get into another mode. But it's interesting because you had this major trade. And so what of it? How good is that trade for two teams in particular? Aaron's Golden State Warriors, who also look extremely potent. They seem to have gained a lot of confidence. Steph Curry is playing out of his mind. The freaking guy is shooting the ball from half court in Brooklyn just like it was nothing. So he's really on the tear. Jimmy Butler, he's one of those guys that he's just really an enigma because he's a pain in the you-know-what, but he can play. And he does want to win. And when he's motivated to win and he's got the right chemistry with his teammates, it's a serious issue. He has been to the finals. He did carry his team to the finals. And he didn't have near this type of talent that he has playing with him here. So very dangerous. I like to always put Denver Nuggets in there. I think that the Denver Nuggets, because they're champions, because Jokic is the reigning MVP, I don't think he should get the MVP this year, but he's certainly in the full discussion of it. So you have him. So those three teams alone, what are you guys thinking in terms of Western Conference? Who are you liking right now? Do you think that the addition of Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers can push them to the NBA Finals?
I think all teams run through OKC. Need to go through OKC in order to get to the championship.
Can the Lakers beat OKC?
I can't see it.
Yeah.
I think OKC has too many people to guard and not enough defenders on a lot of these teams to do it. Mm-hmm. It's hard to stay in front of SGA. SGA is a very talented scorer, and he barely shoots threes.
No question.
J-Dub is a very, very, very good scorer too. Chet Holmgren, 7'5", not
Is Chet
7'5",
playing back?
my
Is he
bad.
playing?
He's 7 foot monster. He's playing. He's back. 7 foot monster. He's tough to guard too. And then their pieces off the bench, they can score too. Aaron Wiggins, who gave us 30 last time. I think the last time we played them. They got a lot of pieces and a lot of people to guard, and it's going to be hard to keep up with them.
What was the question?
What are you thinking about basically the Lakers and the addition of Luka Doncic? Do you think that puts them, over, and could possibly put them in the Western Conference Finals?
I think he could, but again, OKC is just a really tough team to beat. Their chemistry is great, and they just play good basketball overall. And I don't know if they beat them. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but then again, I wouldn't be surprised if OKC beat them as well.
For me, the Lakers are a good team. Luka's obviously a tremendous addition. I think Isiah and I had this discussion the other night. My problem with the Lakers is outside of Luka, LeBron James, and what's his name, Reeves.
Austin Reeves.
After that, you got a bunch of misfits. Let's face it. I'm not saying that the guys can't play, but I just think that at that point it's a tremendous drop off. I could be wrong, but I just think it's a tremendous drop off after those three guys, and that to me is a problem. Isiah just ripped off the team that OKC has. Maybe you can make the same statement about Golden State. We'll get into that in a minute. But I just think the drop-off is more with the Lakers. I think you made that point. You were saying that, and I agree with you. They're trying to keep both of those guys. One of the two is on the floor at all times. And probably as Luka gets into even better shape, they'll definitely be able to make sure that either LeBron or Luka is on the floor at all times. I just think that you're going to need a little bit better roster to compete with, certainly, again, OKC, and to compete with even Denver, in my opinion. But Golden State, what are we thinking? Golden State may be in somewhat of the same boat in terms of the depth of their team. Obviously, Steph Curry is Steph Curry. And then you got, Draymond Green is a mostly disturbed individual, but he can really play basketball, and he really understands the system. And so he's a huge asset. And now you got Jimmy Butler. What do we got after that?
Can you pause? I gotta go to the bathroom.
A few moments later.
So we're looking at, the Golden State Warriors. And with the Golden State Warriors, obviously with the addition of Jimmy Butler, it's changed the dynamic for them. Again, they still have Draymond. They still got Steph who's playing out of his mind. What are you thinking, Aaron? Do you think that that's enough? Let's be honest. Before they got Jimmy Butler, they probably, I don't know, they were borderline, may not even make the playoffs. If they did, let's be honest, they were a first round out. Do you think that now this will take them to? Let's talk big. Can they make the conference finals?
It's tough to say if they can or can't because they still are missing one of their big pieces, Jonathan Kuminga. He's been injured.
Is he coming back?
I have no idea.
No? Okay.
But this year, I don't think they make the conference finals. There's a chance they can. I feel like, but I don't think that they'll make it. I think the two to really look out for is the Lakers and Oklahoma City Thunder because I just don't see them beating any of the two teams in a 7-game series this year.
Isiah, Golden State.
Well, I like what he said. Jonathan Kuminga is probably, arguably, maybe like their third or fourth best player on their team.
Yeah.
So losing him sucks. He's been out for 30 games. They've been doing pretty good. I think any team with Steph on it, you kind of got to be mindful of. You have to be. They played, I think 11 or 12 games since the Jimmy Butler trade, and he's been averaging 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists.
Yes.
And they're 10-1.
Yes.
So and it's not like they've played all the bad teams. They played some pretty decent teams.
And they're on the road.
And they've been winning. So I think they can definitely make it to the second round. Conference finals, I think it's a 50-50. I think it depends on who they play. I think the Golden State Warriors-Lakers series will be entertaining. I think that one could go 7.
Yes.
And it can go either way, to be honest with you.
last question on this one on basketball. Do we think I think that they are, but I do have some concerns because they haven't done it yet. Do we stand by the Oklahoma City Thunder? Do we think that again? You guys know me. I'm big on experience. I'm big on teams that have won championships. Are we thinking that the Golden State Warriors can go in there and beat OKC because of their championship experience, as well as the Los Angeles Lakers, and beat OKC because of championship experience?
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt that the fact because of their championship experience that they get beat, because I feel like that's what happened last year with OKC versus Dallas Mavericks. I feel like the experience side just really, they had a number on them since all these guys are young. So
Yes.
I feel like that was the reason why they lost last year, honestly, to the Dallas Mavericks.
Yes.
But I'd say it could be a factor if they do beat them. I say it is a pretty big factor.
I agree. I'm a little bit concerned from that standpoint from OKC. If OKC plays OKC basketball the way they've been playing all year long, they beat the Lakers, they beat Golden State, they go to the finals, and from there, Celtics, as much as I hate to say it, are going to be rough. But OKC should win the West if they continue to play the way they've been playing throughout the season. They just have been fantastic, and they've been really, really sharp. But let's move a little bit into some boxing stuff. A lot going on in boxing. A lot going on. Obviously, we have the fallout from the Tank fight. People are still up in arms about who was right in the decision. People are still upset with the whole knee thing and blah 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 blah. It's not that much to say on that, in my opinion, because it is what it is. The guys just kind of need to regroup and do it again and fight again if they're going to make that happen. But the biggest development to me in boxing this week, and I don't think none of us had this conversation because I purposely didn't want to get you guys' take on it. It seems as though, and it's kudos, I have to give a shout out to Aaron Allen because Aaron brought this up last week. And what he said really came to fruition, and that it seems as though the Saudis, the Sheikh, has signed a deal. I don't know if you guys heard about this. He signed a deal to partner up with Dana White and the UFC. So for him to basically take the lead in, I'm assuming, the boxing, and let him take the reins on that. Your thoughts on that? I have a little bit more information to give, but what's your initial thoughts to hearing something? I'll let Aaron go first because you did break this story last week before this even came out. I don't know if you cheated and you heard that somewhere, but you did say that last week. So we'll give you first word.
I think it's perfect, honestly. I think this could be a real game changer for boxing if it does work in favor of the Sheik, though, that is, because, all these guys are signed to different promotions, yada, 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 whatever. But I feel like, you don't even need the big names from all these other promotions and stuff. I feel like if they just really build it and they get young, talented fighters who will eventually grow to have a big name in the sport, I feel like it can be successful. And they just have these big fights like all the time, and I just feel like it's great for the sport, honestly.
Isiah, your initial take on that news?
The initial take, first reaction was they was listening to us. They was listening to Aaron.
Aaron said it last week.
Initial take was that was crazy. I mean, he quite literally just word for word put out what happened. I think it's a great thing. I think it's going to be a good thing. I'm honestly very excited to see what the first kind of card or pay-per-view, whatever they're going to do, looks like. I know they're going to give out that information eventually. But this might be one of the things that we talk about. This might help save boxing. This might help, do things better.
Well, obviously I got a little bit different take on it. I think obviously, what they're thinking, and again, it goes back to what Aaron said last week. The thought process is to have one belt. Of course, that will work. But is that logistically possible? I don't think so. I think it's damn near impossible for the way the business of boxing is structured right now for them to have one belt. In my opinion, the fighters are not going to go for that because that's kind of taking money out of their pockets. Because if I got 4 belts in the 147-pound weight division, to me, the fighters themselves are going to be like, nah, I'm not really going to give up my belt, because if all 3 of us have belts, we all can go to the table against whoever wants to fight us. Well, we're champion.
Right.
Why would we be like yo, Aaron has it. So now me and you have lost our ability to go to the negotiating table and be like, yo, we're champion. So to me, go ahead.
No, finish what you were saying.
To me, that's a little bit of a problem in being able to cross over. That is going to be the problem in itself. I'm not saying that the one belt idea is not a great idea. Of course, it's a great idea. We will get people to be able to fight because there's only one belt for us to fight for. But to be able to cross the business over the way that it looks right now is going to be tough.
Well, I feel like that can be resolved because of, the Sheik has a lot of money.
Here we go with the money thing. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, but you're talking about money. That's what you're implying when you say the business of boxing is a word like that.
Yes.
You're implying money.
Yes.
And the Sheik has been supplying this money for these big fights
Mm-hmm.
lately.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's running this thing along with Dana White,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there can be a point to where when you're the one champ, like the amount of money that you're getting is not compared to, say, if you have the WBC, IBF, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and the other side of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if they just increase the pay on
I agree.
that one belt.
There's one problem. And this gets to my second point of what I wanted to make, and this is a critical point. I saw this yesterday, and I talked to you guys' mom about it, and she clearly didn't really know what I was talking about. Well, she actually did. She kind of understood. She actually did really understand what I was saying. There was some critical news that came out, and this, to me, explains why the Sheik went with Dana White. And I keep saying the same thing. Shout out to the Sheik. The guy got more money than, I don't want to use the God, but he does. Right? So they're saying he does. And Aaron just stated that point. This is what I keep hearing whenever I talk about the Sheik. Oh, Sheik's got money to do it. She's got money to do it. She's got money to do it. He has the money to do it. But at the same time, he is a businessman. And he can't be stupid. And you can't keep losing an inordinate amount of money. Each time he puts on a promotion, it's my opinion, particularly a big promotion, he's losing millions of dollars. No one can afford to keep doing that, right? So here's the thing. The numbers came back now for the Bivol and Beterbiev fight. Mm-hmm. This is, I think, where I think the Sheik was like, I got to do something because this is getting out of hand. The numbers came back for the pay-per-view. Now, first of all, to his credit, and I thank him again for that, he made the I don't even know because I just buy it, but apparently he made the price very affordable to us. Normally these fights are what? You guys know, $80, $90. Sometimes they try to inflate. You're trying to really screw us over and make us pay $100. But the Sheik is trying to do the right thing by the boxing fans and lowered it apparently to $27 for that fight. Now, as we all know, that was a stacked card. I tell you guys all the time. First of all, you got to pay Bivol and Beterbiev, and they deserved every penny that they got. Hopefully those guys got at least over $10 million each. I'm hoping, because they deserve that. Now you still got all of these guys that was on that card. Zhang, you got a whole bunch of guys that was on that card. They all have to be paid. These are all named guys. You got to give them, I would say, at least $400,000. The big man that got knocked out, Martin,
Bacoli.
they gave him $500,000.
Yeah.
That's why he got out of bed and said, I'll be there for that. $500,000. You have to pay that. They did. We all know. When Floyd, at the height of Floyd, no one is Floyd Mayweather, but at the height of Floyd Mayweather, he was doing 2 million buys. I think when he fought Manny, they did either 2 or 3 million buys. But the average Floyd Mayweather fight, he was doing 1 million buys. No one is doing that. I agree. After he left, if you did a good pay-per-view, 500,000. How many buys do you think these guys did for Bivol and again, this should have been. To me, it's a million buy. But how many do you guys think they did?
250,000.
Yeah, like 2-3.
45,000.
Ew.
45,000.
45,000 buys. That is a bad situation. That's a bad situation. So when I hear that, the Sheik lost a lot of money. 45,000 and at $27 a pop. That's a lot of money. I don't know how the hell he paid for that car. Well, I know how he paid for it. He had to take it from his bank account. To me, that's when the Sheik was like, I need some help. Because the fact of the matter, he's a guy that has a lot of money, but he doesn't know what he's doing, though, because of boxing is just different. The business of boxing is just different. So that's my thing, with this whole UFC, Dana White coming in, because Dana White, you got to remember, Dana White structured this thing from the beginning. So he was able to, from the beginning, be like, yo, you're going to be in the 168. You only have one belt. You're in the 170. You only have one belt. I'm in 184. I only have one belt. So that's the way we started. But to dial back a business right now that's got 4 and 5 belts floating around in one division, is that possible? Can you think that can be done?
It's about the mentality of the boxers.
That's a great point.
I mean, you always claim you're the best. You want to be the best, but how can you be the best when 3 other people in your own division have a championship as well? Why? Tank is probably, they always give us the 4: Haney, Garcia, Tank, and Lomachenko, right? Right? And they always, between those 4, everybody will say Tank is the best, right? Why? Yeah, he fights better, but the other 3, maybe not Ryan anymore, but the other 2 definitely got championships too. Yes. So why Haney not better? Haney's a great fighter, despite his loss to Ryan Garcia. Lomachenko's a phenomenal fighter.
Lomachenko's a phenomenal
fighter.
Yes.
So why is Tank the best?
Well, we need to see.
Right. So that's why I'm saying this one belt stuff could work. Whoever got that belt is the best.
I agree. Go ahead, Aaron.
Finish.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that. My only issue is, how do we get the fighters who already have 4 belts, 5 belts, to give up their belts and be like, okay, we're only going to fight under 1?
Take it away.
No, they can't do that.
You can't do that.
My thing is, if this thing really works,
and do a tournament.
It can really take away maybe some of the bombs. Well, not bombs, but some of the guys who don't get much of an opportunity in the WBO, IBF, whatever. Maybe they switch over there, and then these guys realize
have a whole.
These guys are fighting world class. They're fighting the tough guys.
Say that again. I want to be clear.
I'm trying to say
if it's one belt,
you're
saying
like Abdullah Mason,
in
and all
a scenario,
these guys.
and I'm just making up a scenario the guys who don't get much of an opportunity and get to fight, the top guys with top belts, they get, what's his name, Benavidez, right? He gets pissed off that he doesn't get Canelo in them. So maybe these guys switch over to, the one belt.
Yes.
And they get paid good because obviously, the Sheik supplies good, I guess. And these top guys are now fighting some pretty tough guys, world class.
Yeah.
And that's that's what we're trying to get to because they're always avoiding them.
I agree. But there's 2 pieces to that. One of the things that you keep saying that we have to figure out again, yes, and I think this is why the Sheik put Dana White on, because the Sheik can't afford to keep just giving his money away. The bottom line, the way boxing is supposed to work, the business of boxing is supposed to work, is that the fight and the promotion is supposed to pay the fighters.
It's an investment, though.
Yes.
That'll be an investment that I think will work out for him positively. It's a lot of money to get back, don't get me wrong, but I think in the long run, let's say, like a WWE, you got a Raw and a SmackDown. You got these guys here, and then you got Turk and Dana's thing over here. Eventually, this one here will, in my opinion, will do better than these guys here.
It would take time.
It would take time because it's starting up and it's got to come up and everything like that. But in the long run, because everybody's saying these guys over here is I don't want to see these fights. They're not fighting who they want to fight. Boxing's going downhill. All these guys want to retire now because the business is bad and all this and whatnot. These guys will come up.
Which guys?
The Dana's guys.
Okay.
Versus what we have right now.
So what you're saying is that, and this is happening in golf, and that golf and the Saudis are involved with that too, and that golf said, you know what, we're gonna make a whole new league, and this was a big problem in golf because they say, you know what, they called up the major people in golf. Let's say we're golf people, and we are on the PGA Tour, which is the major tour, the NBA. But the Saudis was like, yo, Isiah, listen, this is what we're going to do. Golf is like bowling in that you in order to make money, you have to win. Mm-hmm. But the Saudis was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to basically pay you like an NBA player.
Guaranteed.
We're going to give you guaranteed $3 million to sign with us. And you're going to have, if you win that tournament, you're going to get it. But no more PGA.
I'm signing that contract so quick.
There's a documentary
I'm
out there.
signing that contract.
There's a documentary out there on Netflix. Check it out because it goes into this, and it's a very nasty thing that went on.
You know, what's that?
You saw it?
No.
It's-
So you gotta watch
it's-
that.
Yeah, we gotta watch. It's a very
Where is
nasty
it?
thing that it's on Netflix.
Netflix.
And it's very nasty because, guys started hating each other and hating because like we all on the PGA and we cool and be like, yo, you heard what this dude did? You saw he signed with the Saudis and it became a big issue. I think what ended up happening though, and it speaks to what your point is, the PGA ended up merging with the Saudis because they were losing the battle and they were losing
course.
their major players.
Of course.
It's just risky. I think it's just risky to do that in boxing. I just think it's risky. And it's going to cost a lot more money to the sheik because the money is there like that in golf. But in boxing, like I was telling your mom the other day, boxing is different. Boxing, every fight is a new business. So Tank versus Ryan Garcia, that's a business. When that fight is over, that business closes. Tank versus Lamar Roach, that's a new business. So you have to start from scratch each and every time in boxing and fund that business. And if we don't get a chance to do that, man, it's costing somebody a lot of money. I just don't think that even the sheik is going to be willing to give up that kind of money. But again, the concept of it is great. I just don't think that it's going to work because it's just too much money to have to give up. I use, again, case in point, this last card where they did 45,000 buys. I'm going to say, and go out on a limb and say, I think that the sheik had to pay upwards of $15 million out of his own pocket to pay those fighters. He had to. That's a lot of money. Listen, if he's willing to do that, then we got a good shot to see something spectacular here, with this crossover. I just don't think, but again, the last piece to that is, again, will the boxers be willing to do it?
No.
Because like I said, the boxers also are at risk because if 4 of us have belts, I know somebody, I was in this discussion before we even came on here with somebody on social media, it was like, yeah, but the boxers have to pay sanctioning fees for if they have a title. The boxers have to, when you have a title, you actually have to pay. Like I'm the champion, but it's a fee you have to pay. But they're getting that money back because I am a champion. So I'm getting that money back. So do the boxers take that chance? I'm not sure. And you now eliminate the top boxer in the sport being able to demand an outrageous amount of money. Like when Floyd was on top, Floyd was getting whatever it was, something outrageous, $50, $60 million. That now you're regulating. That's like the NBA. The salaries are regulated. You can't just get whatever you want. We have a cap. So now when you start getting into this league type of business structure, it's cool because we can do more and we can control the sport more. But now you're controlling certain people's salaries that they're like, nah, Dad, I normally can get whatever I want. No one's ever going to tell me, well, the cap is $3 million, the cap is $30 million. No, the cap is whatever I say it is, and that's that. So I just think it's going to be a tough one. I think it'll be great for boxing. I'm not sure Dana White knows what he's doing, though, in terms of boxing. Dana White created a great structure for UFC. Boxing is just a different animal, and it's not new. I'll end it by going back to say, and we'll get you guys' opinion on this one. This is off kilter, but I'm gonna talk about even like there's a big argument. Your mom is in the building, and this is for women. The salaries of NBA and WNBA. There's a big complaint about the salaries of women, and not being on par with the men. But the issue to me is that the NBA been in existence for I think over closer to 80 years. And the WNBA is, I think, got about 30 years now. So that's 50 years difference. That's why. You have to build up the business to that point for them to get the same money that the guys are getting. It does take time to do that. I'm not saying that maybe it's slower because they're women. It's very possible. But at the same time, you have to build up that structure. The business has to be built for you to get that way. What do you guys think?
You want to take it? I'll take it. I mean, at the end of the day, unless you got Caitlin Clark in the building who has sold out buildings.
Yes.
And one thing that they do really, really well with Caitlin that they don't really do with a lot of the players is they promote her.
Yes.
Very, very well.
Very well. Very well.
Very well. So that's why Chicago Sky can rent out or
Or
play
when they
in,
play them.
wherever the Bulls are.
Yeah.
They can have that building because that's going to sell out.
Yes.
They've hyped up. Well, I won't even say hyped up because she's nice. She's the truth. They've promoted her. They promoted Angel Reese. They promoted both these teams. Now everybody's like, yo, I'm not gonna lie.
I want to see that game. Or I do myself. I'm gonna go
I want
front.
to see that game.
Yeah.
And I think now is gonna be their come up. Caitlin Clark entering the picture. Paige Buchers. Because Aaron
She's big.
Aaron got on me sitting on how to pronounce her name.
How do you
Paige
pronounce her name?
Buchers.
Is it Buchers? She can play
I thought
though.
it was Becker.
She could play. I thought it was
Paige,
Becker. She can
I thought
play.
it was Becker. She can play. She's very good.
Yeah.
Juju.
Juju's
Juju's
also unbelievable.
phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree.
All these girls, and obviously a lot more, but those are the the top ones. And as they're coming up into the league, more eyes gonna be like, yo, I want to come see I want to come see that.
I agree.
I would love to go watch
Yes.
their first games in
I'm
the
excited about it.
WNBA.
I'm excited about it myself. I definitely, would love to see, those girls that you're talking about. I want to see that, and I agree. Those are really good points. In that, that's also something that, up until this point, I don't think that. And look, I was around when the WNBA first started, and I take it back to the old school of Cynthia Cooper, of the Houston Comets, Tina Thompson, Cheryl Swoops. Those were the superstars that. So I actually went to see them play. But as much as I love those girls, I don't think that the league up until now, with Caitlin Clark, Angel, and a lot of people try to piss on Angel Reese and say that she's not the talent. But listen, I think she can play basketball, and she's a name. That's just the way it is. She's very popular. So I think the WNBA now is really getting talent with the name. So I think that the money should start coming in. I think last year they did make some progress where they're saying that the girls now have their own planes, which is cool. That was crazy that they have to travel, with me and you to go to games. But I think you're going to slowly start to see it come up because, like you said, those two girls that's in college is phenomenal. That's another great rivalry, that could be coming up between Paige and Juju. Those girls are great. So all of that will build the WNBA. Aaron, any thoughts on that one?
I mean, I just feel like some people personally just don't find the WNBA as entertaining as the NBA. I do.
I do too.
I think it's basketball at the end of the day to me.
I do too.
And I feel like what the WNBA really needs is just two big names like a Jordan and LeBron, or something really good to debate about.
Do you think that's coming though? Do you see that on the horizon?
I see it coming.
Yeah,
But
I think so too.
I think they just need those two just out of the world players that just something to debate about in the WNBA to keep people going and entertained with it. I feel like that would be kind of the rise of the WNBA.
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with that. Great point again by Aaron. I think that the league needs that. And the good news for the WNBA is that I think we now have those players. I don't think we're sitting here talking about, we need to see. No, I think we have them. I think we have them somewhat in the league now. And that, again, Caitlin Clark is unbelievable. And her and Angel Reese have been battling since college. So their rivalry has already started. The problem is that their teams are not that good yet. So we need to kind of have their teams pick it up and their teams, really make some noise in the WNBA. And then hopefully with the two young ladies coming out, I don't know if they're both coming out. I think they're both coming out.
Paige is coming out. I don't know about Juju.
So if they both come out this year and they can spark a little rivalry, I definitely think that you're right. That'll spark interest in the league. Man, this is what we want to see. So I think I'm excited about it. I'm with you. I'm just as excited to see WNBA games, believe it or not, as NBA games. Just because the talent is getting in, the talent, and it's exciting to see. But as far as the money's concerned, it's going to come. You know what I mean? And that's the way I feel about it. I kind of transitioned from that to say boxing's the same way. You just have to do it right. And certainly if them trying to transition from a UFC type of format, from boxing to a UFC format, I'm not saying that it won't work, but I'm just telling you right now, you're going to have to build that. The money's not going to be there. The bosses are going to reject that. Everybody's money's going to go low, and I don't see the fighters going for that. And I don't think that the entities like Dana White, even the Sheik who's got all this money, I don't think that they would be willing to put that kind of money in the sport to lose the amount of money that you need to lose to make it go back in the green. It could be done, but we're talking about a lot of money. So it's yet to be seen. If it works, I think it'd be great for boxing. We'll start to get a chance to see those fights, but let's see if it happens. Great week again in sports. We'll see you right here again next week on Second Thought. Keith Thurman fight.
Talk about Stephen A. LeBron.
I was not going to cover Stephen A. But you know what? We'll end with that. Because I tend not to like to talk about that stuff, but because I was debating with that. So Isiah put it on the table. So we will discuss that but it is a good topic. Sometimes it's like gossip stuff, but it is kind of important. So since you brought it up,
start it off.
I mean, for people that may not know, I think LeBron was caught going up to Stephen A. I think mid-game. I don't even think it was after the game. I think mid-game during a timeout.
Was that right?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
No, I think it was after.
Was it after?
It was after.
I think it was after.
Yeah, it was after.
It was after he went up to Stephen A. And, it was kind of just like, you got to keep my son out of this stuff. Or just basically just telling him, just to, kind of just checking him. Kind of like, you need to relax. You're doing too much stuff. And, a lot of controversy, a lot of opinions have been behind that. Who was right, who was wrong, this and that. And in my opinion, when you enter the NBA, I don't care if you're Scottie Pippen's son, Michael Jordan's son, Shaq's son, Kobe's son. I don't care whose son you are. You, as Aaron said while we were talking about it at home, you are subject to criticism. And Stephen A.'s job is to give you that criticism. I understand as a father, you might look at this stuff and be like, you always got something to say about my son, bro. This mad at the players in this league. Relax. Bronny, whether he likes it or not, it's a huge name in the NBA.
Of course.
That's LeBron's kid.
Yeah.
So, of course, a lot of people, especially Stephen A., will, try to hold him to a much higher standard, and also, because his dad is LeBron James, everybody want to see
That's fair.
Bronny play really good, and since he currently in the NBA, in the G League, he's playing great. In the NBA, he hasn't really played that well. Stephen A. is going to get on him about that, but that's just his job.
Yeah. Aaron?
I understand where LeBron. Well, I don't understand where LeBron's coming from because I'm not a father. But I mean, in the case of you're talking about the guy's son, I understand why he did that. But then again, like Isiah said, Stephen A. is just really doing his job. It's what he does for a living. But I don't really know. I don't know.
I mean, look, it's a tough one. Again, Isiah said it correctly. I am a father, obviously. My son's on the show with me here. But guess what? That's almost like, listen, I'm going to use this show as an example. We're putting ourselves out there by doing this show, right? And we're subjecting ourselves to criticism. People could come on and call us three bums. Or they may say, the father's cool, but the other two kids are bums. Right? That can happen. Obviously that would piss me off that, wait a second, were you attacking my kids? But at the same time, I also understand that if we're going to put ourselves out here and do a show, and it's going to be, on social media, or however, on YouTube, wherever we put these shows, that go with the territory. You know what I mean? That goes with the territory that we decided to do that. I decided to put them on here. I have so many different platforms in which I do this in the mental conditioning gym, my own podcast and things, but I thought it was cool to be able to put them out there. They enjoy doing it, so all right, what the hell, let's do it. And we got some pretty good feedback for it. But we're going to get some negative feedback. People are going to be saying, these kids, you never know. People be wilding out. But because, I made the decision, and with their, obviously, approval, to put them on, I can't really get mad. Again, will it piss me off personally? Like, yo, what? But at the same time, you can't, in my opinion, this is what they subjected to do. This is their job, to come here and do that. Other people have their jobs of, particularly a reporter like Stephen A., who I'm not a big fan of, so it's not like I'm, taking his side, but he does have a job to do, and his job is to be a critic. That's basically what these guys do. And he was criticizing LeBron James' son, And again, if he's a professional athlete, man, and that's what goes with the territory of being a pro athlete. Quite frankly, any athlete who's in the public eye, college kids get criticized as well. And we're in a terrible state of living where high school kids sometimes even get criticized. So they kind of go with the territory. So to step to him like that is a bit, I don't know. I thought a bit strange. And certainly to step to him in a public forum like that, if he really had a problem with it, maybe. And Stephen A. did say this. He said he got my number, which I believe that. We don't live in a day and age where it's hard to get anybody's number. I'm sure he can get Stephen A.'s number like that. He could have stepped to him on the phone like, "Let me tell you something. I'm gonna break your jaw if you do that again." But to kind of do that in a public forum, like what he trying to do, you know what I mean? Because clearly he didn't try. He did. He embarrassed Stephen A. Smith. That was comical to me. He had him like standing there like Kermit the Frog and like, "Yo, sit down." And Stephen A. had to he had no other choice but to sit down. So I guess he was trying to in my opinion, looked like he was trying to embarrass him, which he certainly succeeded. It was an embarrassing situation for Stephen A. Smith to be, sunned in front of America or the world. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. Everybody was watching that, and with social media, it's all over the place. So success, I guess, if that's what LeBron James was trying to do. But yes, I do think it's a little bit out of pocket for him. Again, and I am a dad too, so I'm not, I understand, somebody attacking your sons, you're going to be upset about it. But at the same time, like I said, his son is in a different category. He is a professional basketball player. He's not 12. He is over 18 at this point, so he's a man. So it's kind of one of those things. I just think it was a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit inappropriate. But that's why I don't like to have these conversations necessarily too much, because I'm not obviously LeBron James to be able to say. But I am a dad, and like I said, I using this example, somebody can again go in the comments and attack my guys here. I'm not going to like it, but again, I also understand that we put ourselves, all three of us, in a position to be attacked. And so it is what it's just like on social media. If you comment on a post, I've had that happen to me where I talk about boxing and I've been called a crackhead, you know what I mean, before, you know what I mean, and I don't smoke crack and I don't even know these people, but I've been called a crackhead, and it bothered me like, you just call me a crackhead, but it is what it is what it is. But I know that. But I understand too. If I'm going to make a comment, I can get called a crackhead. That's just the way that's just the way things go. So sometimes you got to walk it like you talk it.
I also heard some things like Stephen A. wasn't really attacking Bronny per se, but
right.
Attacking LeBron.
Well,
kind of like being a parent.
Dad, whatever it was, Dad felt like it was an attack on his son. So again, that's trying to interpret what LeBron James was thinking. We don't know. We do know he got pissed because he felt like his son was being attacked. Mm-hmm. And so all we could do is leave it at that point. But even then, my point is just to say, like, even if that's the case, even if Stephen A. clearly attacked Bronny, it kind of goes with the territory, man. You know what I mean? They had that issue with Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan, which I think is wrong. Michael Jordan stopped talking to Charles. The two of them was tight. And Michael Jordan stopped talking to Barkley because Barkley criticized him. But that's Charles Barkley's job. At the time, let's be honest, Jordan was doing the Wizards sucked. He was a president. They weren't winning. And Barkley simply said, "Yo, this guy doesn't know what he's doing in terms of being an owner." That's that. You can't get mad at him. He was doing his job. What are we supposed to do? Lie? The team is one of the worst teams in the East. But Mike's doing a great job. No, he's not. And for him, do you want him to lie about it? He's not. He's doing a bad job. And you're gonna get mad at him. So sometimes, you know what? We don't give people enough credit and respect that they're doing their own job. So that's my point to that one. You guys can comment and let us know, what you think about it. And I know that's a hot topic. Isiah set that one off. So, and keep in mind, I didn't bring that up. Isiah did. So we see you right here again on Second Thought.